GA Flashback Friday. I hope you guys are having a fantastic, magical, wonderful Friday. I am so fracking happy it's Friday. I can't even talk. I am so ready for this week to be over because I have the weekend off of work. Those words in a sentence never come together. I never have a weekend off. But we've got enough people in there now, management-wise, that will allow for all of us to kind of rotate weekends off. So I'm really excited. I am just so ready. It's been like the week from you know what. I've just been stressed out all over the board, nervous. I haven't been sleeping. I'm just tired, and I am so insanely ready for the weekend. I can't even stand it. And even though I have the weekend off, it doesn't mean I'm not doing anything. I have to go to the Girl Scout store and get my kids. Eden needs a new Girl Scout vest. She had a sash thing, and it does not hold all of her patches. She's got way too many, and I've got to get something bigger. So I'm going to get her vest, redo all of it, I'll put all of her numbers and stuff on it, because they're all iron-on now. They're not sewn on, and so I can't just take the stitching out and re-sew it to something else. It's iron-on, so I have to replace all of them and re-iron them on, and then I have 18 patches to put on. Some of them are iron-on, and the ones that are not is where I employ my mother with her sewing machine. My mom sewed all of my Girl Scout patches on my vest, because back in the day, they weren't iron-on. And my mom was my Girl Scout leader for years, and so she got really good at, sewing on all of my patches. My vest is, completely full. So she's the master at that. So she's going to come in on Sunday and do that with me, and then we're probably going to go do some shopping or something. I don't know, but I'm so excited that it is Friday. And I'm actually looking forward to my weekend off. But we're not here to talk about weekends off or Girl Scout Jip Jazz. We are here for GA Flashback Friday, where I recap a past episode of Ghost Adventures, and this week we are going back to the Sacramento tunnels. This episode is just one of those that gave me the chills. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the whole underground thing or just the evidence they got, but as always, I like to give you guys a little bit of history about the location before we get into what happened during lockdown. Now, Sacramento was settled in 1849. It was a mining town. It had a rocky beginning. It was originally built at sea level, so it was prone to flood after flood after flood after flood. One of the floods lasted 3 months, and it's God only knows how many people died during that time. It was also plagued by a cholera epidemic, which caused them to just throw bodies into graves, just one on top of the other, just massive graves, because they just had no way of keeping up with it. And when they were trying to get rid of it, and they didn't really know how it would spread or things like that, so they would just dump them into massive graves. And that's just, water and massive graves do nothing but negativity for the environment. So as if, cholera and flooding wasn't enough, then massive fires took down the town twice. It was just a guy in the episode said it was the town that shouldn't have been. Nothing, it should have never survived. It should have never come back as many times as it did. It should have never, survived, but for whatever reason, it did. It was just, you could just feel, you could just sense the energy in the air just by the way that they were talking and the way that they were doing things. But they had a lot of fun on the walkthrough. They went to a candy store and, cut up a little bit. And then they took shots out of wax bottles. If anybody remembers those, I do. I remember the wax bottles with, the sugar water in them. Where Nick proceeds then to eat the bottle, which we all did when we were 6. But it's not so good when you're, 36. It's not a good time. And as I got older, those always had vodka with them, which I think was on the guys' minds too, but it was just really funny to see them kind of have fun with a really serious, walkthrough. This was a 3-part lockdown. It originally was a 2-part lockdown. Originally, they were going to investigate the Eagle Theater and the underground tunnels in Sacramento, and then they got access to the courthouse, where they've had some pretty good paranormal evidence as well. So it turned from a 2-part to a 3-part lockdown. They began lockdown underground, where they heard nothing for a while. It was pretty quiet for about the first hour and a half, and then they began to hear lots of noise, lots of unexplained noises. They heard lots of footsteps, almost like shuffling and running above them. Now there is like a curator, like a historian building above them. They went up there. There was nobody there. They had a security guard outside the front door. Nobody had went in the building. No one had come out of the building. So they actually tried to debunk it and couldn't. So then they deemed it paranormal. They caught a mass move from right to left. You know, they were all standing perfectly still. You could see that they were all standing perfectly still, and there was this mass, and it literally moved across the screen. And then they caught several, explained voices on their digital recorder. It got kind of negative when Zach kind of got into this pit in the tunnel, and something dropped the F-bomb, which is always kind of interesting when a spirit drops an F-bomb. And then he asks, out of Zach, Nick, or Aaron, which one do you not like the most? And whatever it was screamed, Aaron, from the voice box. That got Aaron a one-way ticket to staying in the tunnels by himself later in lockdown. Poor Aaron. He's always bait. Or at this point in his journey, he was always bait. They then go to review their evidence of their digital recorders, and they get two spirits. One of them said, "Stop talking to me," and the other one saying, "Where did you go?" And they were Class A, crystal clear EVPs. They then split up. Aaron goes to the underground, Nick goes to the courthouse, and Zach goes to the Eagle Theater. It was the only way that they were going to squeeze all three lockdowns into one night. Zach gets a couple of words when he asks questions about knowing some of the people in the theater that were there earlier in the day, and they said possibly. He also captures like this amazing piece of evidence with a rocking chair, and it's moving by itself. He hears a noise, and then he goes over, and he knows there's nobody else in there with him. He knows he's by himself, and he hears a noise. He kind of sees a shadow, and then he realizes the rocking chair is moving, and it freaks him the F out, which I don't blame him. I would be gone. Flashing over to Nick. Nick is in the courthouse where he is wearing the jacket, that is designed by Gary Golka that Zach had used. And he got a heat signature on his arm. There was an indication of heat, which sometimes can mean an evil spirit. And he got a male voice come out of the digital recorder. And he just didn't feel right. He felt really off there. But other than that, he really didn't get a lot of evidence. Other than some loud noises and some bangs and clangs. Your typical paranormal hoopla. And then for Aaron, he captures a Class A EVP that says, "Gotta get all the cash." It was like, and then of course, Aaron was like over it. He did not want to be there. He did not feel right about being there. Whatever it was, obviously did not like him. And it was just, you could tell he was uncomfortable. But he did, took one for the team and was bait and did what he was supposed to do. And it produced some really good evidence. Overall, Sacramento is haunted AF. Some people believe it. Some people don't. I personally do. I think that there's just too much rich, dark history within the environment. Not saying that everything that has rich, dark history is haunted, because that's not the case. But in this situation, I think that there are some lost souls and some unsettled spirits that have some things to say, and they're not very happy about it all the time. And so they use any outlet they can. And it was just another really awesome episode of the guys, being able to capture all of that and be able to bring a voice to those spirits. And that's what we love about Ghost Adventures. New or old, that is what we love about them, because that's all they do. They strive to be a voice for the spirit world, and I think it's just an amazing, amazing thing, and I'm so glad that it's still around, that we get to enjoy it. But that is all I have for GA Flashback Friday. I will be back on Monday for GA Recap Monday, where I will be recapping the newest episode of Ghost Adventures, where they are investigating a Scientology lab. Could be interesting. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy, have a fantastic, magical weekend. Bye!